Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons vodcast. I'm the Mad Dragon, Donny Bell. I'm joined today by Matt Hasler, Benny O'Brien, and Mick Foster. Joe Hickory might join us a bit later on. I know he was keen for a chat, but he's not responding at the minute. But we'll get him on in a minute. It's been an interesting week since the last time we had a chat. It seems like the entire rugby league world has changed. Sin bins, send-offs, suspensions and injuries leading into a 5-day turnaround for the game against the Sharks. How much impact, Benny, do you think Magic Round will have now on the rest of our season?
I think it's going to have a huge impact. It was a bit of a shambles to me. It just didn't really make sense. Like you said, the amount of injuries and sin bins and just, I don't know. I think the flow and effect from it we're going to see it for the next 4 to 5 weeks, I think at least. And not just us, there's a whole heap of teams that are in the same boat. I saw a funny meme on Facebook. The judiciary lineup's going to be about 50, 60 deep, I think. So that's, not good, man. Not good at all.
Yeah, no, and that's probably the scary thing is this is week 1 and we're already decimated. If it goes on again next week, then we might have to, dust out the Dapto under 11s and get them fitted for a jersey next week.
I might throw one on and run out for the boys.
Absolutely. Before we get into our game, I do want to chat, I suppose, generally about the big crackdown the NRL had over the weekend. I suppose go through each year. What are your thoughts? I'll start with you, Mick.
Yeah, good day, Donny, Matty, and Benny. Well, I think first of all, it's not a bad rule in general, but you've got to be consistent and be fair across the teams. I mean, the Dragons we got thrashed in those sort of instances. You can't play 80 minutes of footy and say one team's got 4 guys who have to go to the judiciary, 1 guy sent off, 1 in the bin, 2 other guys on report, and Melbourne, nothing. Norman had his head belted off, and they just said, oh, that's a penalty. Well, the rugby league, and I don't want to sound like a typical Dragon fan, crying about referees, but that's bloody blatant. Smacked him straight across the face. Everyone can see the picture. And the NRL go, but that's just a penalty. Well, if that's just a penalty, why have we got 4 guys going to the bloody judiciary? They must think we're thick because it's bloody obvious. It's cheating. Well, that's right. It's cheating by the way I see it. That Kafusi should have been sent straight off. If they're going to be fair to him about Volandes trying to say, look, we've got to cut out the head eyes. Well, that was right around his face. It could have broken his nose. And they just said that's a penalty. So someone in the panel explained to me how that's a penalty, and yet we got guys sent off and guys in the bin because they don't get it. If it's not a form of cheating, then why is 1 guy in a Melbourne jersey only causing a penalty and we got 4 guys out?
Well, I mean, it's something that you definitely see in those couple of instances, but there was those inconsistencies throughout the weekend. It wasn't just against the Dragons. It wasn't some conspiracy against us in terms of the sin bins and send-offs and who got it and who didn't. But
we had more than everybody.
Oh, of course we did. Yeah. But there were inconsistencies across the entire weekend. I mean, we didn't have as many sin bins in our game as other games. So there was 8 in the first 2 games on Friday night. So they were the 2 that had the most sin binned and sent off, and that was the most carry on was on the Friday night, the first bunch of games. But in terms of suspensions and what's happened to the judiciary, we definitely have worn the brunt of the pain there. That's for sure. But Matty, how did you see the crackdown? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, Donny. It was look, I have very similar thoughts to Mick. I mean, Kafusi almost takes Norman's head off and gets penalised, right? But then we lose a guy in the 7th minute or something ridiculous. You're doing, sort of similar thing. Like, where's the consistency?
Yeah, and I saw it's not like Kafusi doesn't have form. Like he's done
exactly right. And I saw a number of similar incidents in other games that should have got the same treatment and did it. So I'm wondering if the referees don't understand exactly how the penalty sin bin send off is actually supposed to work with this thing.
Benny, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I sort of agree with everyone and how he feels. I think, like you said, and it's hard to sound like a one-eyed dragon supporter, but we always seem to be copping the raw end of the stick. Even the Maguire head high, like the ref said, it's bounced up off the ball. The commentator saying, yeah, it's bounced up on the ball. You can clearly see it in the replays. Goes to the bunker, and then all of a sudden, it's a high shot with intent. You know what I mean? Like, where's the consistency? Like it just feels like they're out to get us, and I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because we're performing better than everyone sort of tipped us to do it sort of coming into the season, but it just seems to be it's just so inconsistent. And like the boys were saying about the Norman one, like clear as day, swinging arm from behind, cops him right on the nose, and nothing. The thing that I give our boys credit for is they don't lay down and bung on a bloody drama like everyone else does, Like, I reckon bloody Pappenhausen and Adokar would be up for bloody Logie Awards the way they're carried on. It's ridiculous, Like, it's turning into bloody soccer. This is one thing I hate about the bloody game. It's, everyone used to love the toughness of Origin and the toughness of rugby league, and now we look like a bunch of fucking pussies. It pisses me off.
Yeah, no, and fair enough too, mate. I mean, I saw every minute of every game. I went over to Brisbane, flew over there, spent a lot of money, and I feel ripped off. I feel ripped off because what I witnessed watching every minute of every game was not rugby league. It was an absurd comedy. The whole weekend was like a Monty Python skit. Like, I was sitting up in the grandstand and I was laughing out loud at the absurdity of what I was witnessing. There were people around me, rusted on rugby league fans, that had no idea what was going on, had no idea what was going to happen at any given moment, had no idea what decision these guys were going to come to. And it ruined games. It destroyed games. And I feel sorry for the referees. I really feel sorry for the referees because they're put in the middle. They're the guys that have got to implement this. There was the Cowboys Roosters game. I don't know how long was left, 10, 15 minutes left in the game. And the Roosters were leading by 6. And Lachlan Burr hits Tedesco as he's fallen down on his knees again. And there's not much in it. Like, it's a ball and all tackle that sort of got him a little bit high. And you could see the referee did not want to have an impact on the result of that game. It was in the balance. There was 6 points in it, but he had to send him to the sin bin, and from that moment the game was over. The referees decided the result of that game. So I feel sorry for the referees, and I'm not sure what exactly it is they're trying to achieve, because shots like Terrell Fuamoano's one, there's no eradicating that. There's no getting rid of that, because that was a 3-on-2 situation was created by Melbourne. He's coming up quick to try and shut down that play, trying to come up with a ball and all tackle to try and stop the pass from getting out. He slips down right at the last minute. You're never going to get rid of that. Never going to get rid of that tackle. It's always going to happen. So I don't know what they hope to achieve, but it's not going to work. So I was pretty pissed off.
I rewatched the Firmino tackle as well, and I've played a lot of footy. And when you're coming off the line like that, I don't know if you guys have done a lot of sprint training, but the amount of power it takes you to actually launch that quick over that distance, there's no way he's going to pull out of that. Like, he was fully committed to make that tackle, and where's he meant to go? I mean, you can't put your arms up, you can't put your arms down, you can't take your arms away, or it's a bloody shoulder charge. What are you meant to do? You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid. It's not rugby league. You may as well be bloody touch football.
We just did a little bit of a technical hitch there. We've got Joe Hickory on board now, and Yeah, we've just been talking about the crackdown of over the weekend, and I think we've all had fairly similar thoughts that we're not too happy about the way that it's certainly played out for the Dragons, and in general across the weekend, the impact that it's had. What were your thoughts on the crackdown, Joe?
You know, bit of a disaster. Well, I don't know how to make it better though. What do? You're allowed to go hit everybody again over the chops. It just wasn't done right. Anyway, the biggest thing for me was the one where not the Dragons game, it was the other game. It was the Cowboys and the Roosters. When Tedesco fell into that player on the floor, he just fell on his knees, and the player just wrapped him up, took him ball and all, hammered him, and just fell on top of him, and he got done for that. I couldn't fucking believe what I saw. To be honest, I could not fucking believe it. Excuse my French. The fucking game has gone to the dogs. Unfucking believable.
Yeah, mate. It was certainly very, very frustrating. And you know, from my perspective, I watched the body language of the referee when that one happened, and he just sort of put his head back when, like he heard the bunker told him what he's got to do. He put his head back, his eyes sort of rolled back a little bit. He didn't want to sin bin him.
I never noticed.
Yeah, the referee did not want to sin bin him. Did not want to, because it was only 6 points in the ball game at that time. Not long left on the clock. It was a real contest, and that was going to decide the outcome of the game. From there, the Cowboys were no chance.
Yeah.
And he's there. He's seen it live. He's watched the same replays the bunker has, and I don't think the referee on the field could believe he'd been told.
Okay, all right. Riddle me this then. How the fuck can then the bunker overrule the referee in decisions such as foul play? I don't think the bunker should be allowed to overrule the referee in his decisions on foul play. That should be up to the. It should be up to the referee, not the bunker, to make those calls.
You're right. It is up to the referee, but you know what would happen? Any referee that went against what the bunker said would be dropped immediately. I guarantee you. The bunker is there. They're looking at motion replays, high definition television screens that they're looking at, and they've got all the information, so that the league's position on that is that it's their call to make. So the referee could have gone against it, but he would never referee in the NRL ever again. So that's
probably it's up there. It's up there with State of Origin. This thing, you know, the Magic Round. I love it. Donnie, you and I both went into state to go watch it. You know what I mean? And by the way, I'm a bit pissed that I didn't have a beer with you, but that's another story. I just can't get over it, man. The show has an opportunity. The game has an opportunity to be grandstand, and they fucked it. They fuck it. They find a way to always fuck this game up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think it's been getting progressively worse. And I think people are getting more and more frustrated with the direction the game is going. And you know, there only needs to be someone out there that's got a bit of coin and, you know, a bit of gumption, and they want to take the game back to the people. They want to take the game back to what it is that we, the fans, want. The people that actually pay money to go and watch games, the people that pay money to buy merchandise, the people that pay money to buy memberships for their clubs that they love. If anybody wants to go and create a rebel league in competition with the NRL, people that actually spend money to keep this game going will leave and follow that rebel league in droves, because people are sick of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of a reverse Super League, really.
Well,
yeah.
Well, and that's
the fact that we're even talking about something like this, basically, it shows you how bad the game's looking at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. I really don't. All I can see is the NRL is trying to cover their asses against potential lawsuits in the future if players start getting brain damage or stuff like that. Like, that's literally what it sounds like. It sounds like an insurance policy to me, and all it's doing is ruining the game. You know, like, yeah, I don't agree with it at all. Not saying that I don't care about the safety of the players. Obviously, that's paramount, but it's not the game we know and love. It's like I said last week. You know, it's just it's gone shit.
Mate, at the end of the
That
day,
that
it's
hit
a
was
tough
put on
physical.
Pappenhausen. If that was put on Dufty, it would have just been a penalty again, like the same thing that happened with Norman. I believe if Dufty was knocked out like that, they would have just said, "Oh, it's probably on reported penalty." Then they'd take it to the judiciary, and the guy would get off.
Knocked
I
out, or
believe
at least pretended it was.
the Dragons, and I've never been that fan ever in my life. I actually don't like those fans. Even if you're those guys, sorry, I don't like those fans. I'm not one of those guys. I would call the game straight, what I see. But what I'm seeing at the moment, and for the last couple of years, there's definitely anti-Dragon sentiment, 100%. You look at the tries when we go upstairs, nearly all the tries, when they say that's a try, they go upstairs and they say no try. That's a Dragons run. They can go upstairs for a no try with Melbourne. It comes back and it's a try. It's just insane. It's happening way too much. And I never wanted to admit it, but I'm really starting to believe that it's actually happening. We won't be in the finals for a long time because the NRL, for some reason, I don't know what it is, but they've definitely got an anti-Dragons thing going on. And I think it's big time, but I don't know why.
You're wrong, mate. We'll be in the finals this year. We're still sitting in 6th spot, and we're better than the teams below us. So, yeah, we're going to be all right this year. We're kind of making up the numbers. Nobody outside the top 5 can win it this year, but I reckon we'll make finals this year. Yeah.
But it's sort of created that big split in the comp. You know, the top 5 are just miles ahead of everyone else, and then from 6 down, it's anyone's game. But and it's funny to me who the guys, the top 5 teams are. You know, they're like Mick was saying, they just seem to be getting shown the favoritism. You know, they get all the right calls, they get all the good games, and you know what I mean. It's
sickening.
It feels
it's
like
sickening.
a conspiracy. Yeah, it's shit.
It's sickening,
like,
mate.
yeah.
We don't want to be these begging fans. Like Joe said, it's. I was going to swear, but I'm not going to. It's just becoming too bloody obvious. And as Dragon fans, we would have to be completely thick, which we're not. But we would have to be completely thick to actually go, oh, no, it's not happening. It's an even playing field and we've got as even chance as everybody else. That's complete bullshit. The St George Illawarra Dragons for years and years now have not been on a level playing field with a lot of the other clubs. Roosters, bloody, Broncos when they were going great, bloody now Penrith. I mean, you can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is. If someone could explain to me what the Dragons is someone in the Dragons hierarchy done something to the NRL for us to have this anti-treatment towards us, because I'm bloody certain, but I can't work out why we have it. Does anybody know why it looks like we have it?
I don't know. I think to me it's like the Dragons are the safe bet in the NRL. You know what I mean? We went through the oust and the fans stayed solid. You know, we went through all the McGregor stuff. The fans stayed solid. We're going through this shit. The fans are always solid. We always turn up. We always buy merchandise. We always buy memberships because we are those hardcore fans. So the NRL are like, oh, their fans are going to kick up a stink. They'll just keep paying the money. You know what I mean? So I think, and because we've got such a big supporter base, it's like the NRL just don't give a shit if they keep us happy or not. You know, whereas they go and suck up Melbourne's ass.
I think if we folded, the NRL would be bloody happy if we couldn't fund our club and we disappeared. I think the NRL would actually be glad to piss us off.
I was just saying, there's been the rumours getting around lately about them trying to force us to merge with Cronulla. You know what I mean? It's just like they wanted us to merge with Illawarra. And sorry for all the diehard Illawarra fans out there, but and now they're trying to force us to merge with Cronulla. There was talk about us merging with Balmain back in the day, and like, why? You know, like there's other clubs out there that got less money than we do and less supporters than we do, and they're happy to just cruise along doing their thing. But they always want to push us into different situations, and I don't know. It's just they just love to target the Dragons. I don't know why.
I think there's definitely a big thing from the NRL where there's too many teams in Sydney, so. Yeah. They don't want us to be in. They want us based permanently in the Gong, and I think the club kicks up a stink about that. And they said that it's never going to happen. They're always going to be at Cogra, and the NRL doesn't want that. They want us to move permanently to Wollongong, and maybe there's something in that.
If we go to Wollongong, we won't survive. If we go to Wollongong, we won't survive. Straight out. I love the Illawarra, and I'm very proud to be part of St George and Illawarra together. I thought, and I think, and I thought at the time, and I still think it's a great marriage. No dramas from me, my end. I'm a Dragon though. But if we go to Wollongong, same club, same name, same team, same red V, everything, same emblem. Geographically, we're not going to survive because the Illawarra faithful there, you'll only get 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 probably turn up to a game. Only if we're doing well, you might get 8,000. You'll get 12,000, 13,000 at Cogra. You know what I mean?
Historically, the average crowd sizes at Wollongong are about the same as the average crowd sizes at Cogra, and there's not too much difference between the crowds at those two venues at the moment. Although Cogra's had a little bit of a facelift and fits a bit more now, and I don't know. I think that there's a big push to get less Sydney teams, and the Dragons are seen as an easy solution. Just move them to Wollongong.
Even like what Mick was saying last week, it's like they want to erase the history of the club. You know what I mean? Like the Dragons, 11 premierships in a row, like a feat that will never even be close to matched. And that never gets a mention. They say
and they say we won one.
Exactly. It's bullshit. Like you look at all the greats that have been through the years, Dragons players, and then obviously into St George Illawarra, and that'd more than rival any other club out there. And we just don't seem to get the recognition we deserve. It's like we're a B grade side and a B grade club, and it pisses me off.
Well, Matty, I'll bring you in. So we'll get into the talking about the actual game. So despite the Storm being without Harry Grant, no Brendan Smith, no Cameron Munster, we were still despised outsiders heading into the game. So that's before we'd even kicked off. Did you think we were a legitimate chance of causing an upset pre-game?
Absolutely. Melbourne, even if they do have players out, Bellamy's the sort of coach that he'd already have players waiting in case they do get injuries. So they'll be well versed in all the plays. So, but I still thought we were a really, really good chance. And even at halftime, I thought, no, we're still in this. And if Cody's foot had been about a bee's dick inside the line, that could have changed the entire outcome of the game. It could have changed the entire direction of it. Correct decision, don't get me wrong, but it was unfortunate. But look, I thought the boys gave a good account of themselves, all things considered. Would have been quite easily go back to the bad old days where they get a couple of tries behind and just basically fall apart. We didn't do that. There was a period where we did let in 4 tries in 10 minutes, which basically put the result pretty much beyond doubt. But they kept fighting right to the end, being a man down for the best part of 65 minutes. I thought it was a pretty gutsy performance by them.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, completely agree there. But in terms of the Cody Ramsey one, mate, if you go by the precedent set in the nines a little while back, he was in by miles, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, if you go by that, then,
I love it.
they did get it wrong.
I was waiting for this comment. Classic buddy.
We didn't get the foot of God routine this time.
No, not on this occasion. So yeah, I mean, we've talked about the Maguire sin bin, and the fact that the arm bounced up off the ball. Yeah, still made contact with the head, penalty, but 10 in the bin was a bit rough. From there, we lost a man to the sin bin. First set after being reduced to 12 men, Melbourne forced a line dropout. Down to 12 men, the score at 0-0. Corey Norman attempts another short line dropout, and it doesn't go 10 metres.
I still like them.
Really? You want my actual thoughts, or it's just fucking stupid. Like, come on, man. Like, fucking use your brain. It's just the dumbest shit. Like, I don't know. I feel like a broken record talking about Norman. It's just,
I love it.
He's meant to be one of the premier playmakers in the game, and he does dumb shit like that. Like,
Nah, he's no fucking premier playmaker. No
Oh.
fucking chance.
I don't know, man.
Barge ass.
It's just dumb, eh? I don't get it. You're playing Melbourne, you know, like long dropout, pin him down there, try and, you know, get him to complete their sets and get kicks away and get field position. And I don't know, just dumb. I don't know who he's getting the call from.
Anybody else notice the handling errors from Melbourne? Pretty much fuck all. That's how they win their games, man.
Yeah, 100%.
No fucking handling errors. It's not rocket science because the professionals, you know, they're all quite fit. They're all quite fast. They're all quite strong. Simple, mate. Simple maths. Hold the fucking ball. Win a football game. That's all Bellamy tells them. That's all, I guarantee you.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. You just shake your head, eh?
I mean, even like I'm certain that this is coming from the coaching staff. Like, this is, if the coaches did not want him to do it, they would be taking action and telling him in no uncertain terms, stop doing it. So this has got
It's
to
not
be
coming from Norman. There's no way it's coming from him. He's not that stupid.
Chance. No chance.
He's not that stupid. Come on.
Well, he is.
He's been told kick the short kick off because we got a 50-50 chance of getting it back. If Norman was to make this up himself, to kick the bloody shit out of it, kick it 60 metres, I believe he wouldn't be doing that stupidity. Like Bender, I've got no idea why Stoward thinks it works. A couple of times Norman's done it, and it actually has worked, and we have got the ball back and got another 30, 40 up the field. But surely we've all played footy, and no one ever does that unless you're behind and you've got to try to do it to try to get the ball back to win the game. You don't do that in an early part of the game, especially against bloody Melbourne. And twice when Norman's done it, the team's scored on that first set of 6. Twice it's happened from 2 dropouts. It's insanity. And we got to bloody stop doing it. But I just hate the fans. Everyone's bagging Norman. Well, I'm pretty sure, like you said, Donnie, if Norman's doing it himself, he'd get his ass kicked. He's been told to look like a fuckwit and do it.
Yeah. No, he's getting.
But at least pull it off.
How do you think Norman feels?
Well, that's the point that I was.
He's going to do this.
But that's the point that I was just going to make. Mate. He might be getting told to do it, but he's not getting told to don't kick it 10 metres. Execute the bloody thing. Practice doing short line dropouts and make sure you nail it every single time. Make it go at least 10 metres. Give people a chance to.
Well, you know what they should be doing when they do go up for the ball. Instead of trying to catch it, they should be knocking it back like an Aussie rules player. Go up like a ruckman and go up and make sure that you're 6'3" and you go back like that, like a ruckman would do it for a rover. They're going up and trying to mark the bloody thing and knocking it on. That's fucking stupidity. Knock it backwards like a ruckman. For fuck's sake.
You know what?
Well, you got me on. You wanted me on.
3 or so weeks from now, hey, look at the bright side. In 3 or so weeks from now, we're going to have a shitload of players coming back nice and fresh.
Yeah, it's going to be like NFL. The one team off and another team goes on. Yeah. So from that short line dropout, dropout, Joe, Melbourne, you know, get across the line and, you know, from that try, that's where we lose. Phil Milano, 12 minutes into the game, high shot on Pappenhausen.
Yep.
I suppose we've talked a little bit about that hit, but I suppose that now's probably a good time to actually talk about the suspension. So Phil Milano gets 5 weeks for this hit. So, I mean, I posed the question earlier, what is it that we're trying to eradicate? I mean, which was the worst tackle? That Tyrell Fulmino, as I said, faced with the 3-on-2, trying to stop the ball from getting to the outside and makes contact on a bloke that's falling. Was that one worse than the Josh Papali hit, where Papali is coming up aggressively, racing up out of the line, straight on, head-on contact, no extenuating circumstances, looking to do nothing else but inflict harm? The only thing that he was looking to do was inflict harm. Gets it wrong, shoulder makes direct contact with the head. Which one's the worst tackle?
Papali's, but it's all about grading, mate. You know, it's all about how many carryover bullshit points that they have. And this is the part of the system that's wrong. Every tackle should be judged on its merit and handed down a punishment per offence. not about these, demerit points that they're carrying. You know, what is it, a fucking driver's license? You know what I mean? And if they do a hit like that and he doesn't have points, well, what, does he get 1 week or a slap on the wrist? That's all. Well, how long did Papali get?
I think you were 3 weeks.
What a load of fucking shit. The game's gone to the dogs. It's a fucking load of shit now, man. It's all bullshit. Trust me. But as for the short dropout, keep going, Norman. I love it. If they do it right, like Donnie said.
Yeah,
You got one last week. You got it back.
He's 2 from 15, I think, so far. So just get better at it.
I like a punt. That's why I like it.
Same again, Matty. I mean, which one was worse? So Josh Maguire, he gets 5 weeks for a tackle where he hit the hips, dropped down to the legs to stop the forward momentum of the player that's still trying to make extra ground. He gets put into an awkward position because there was force coming in the other direction from other defenders that's nothing to do with what Josh Maguire did. That's how he got put into an awkward position. He gets 5 weeks for that. And it pales in comparison to Jack Whiten, who's got a bloke standing still prone and he burrows right in at the knees. Again, what is it that we're trying to eradicate? Which of those tackles was the worst tackle?
Oh, well, sure as hell wasn't Maguire's, I can tell you that much. Look, I think what they're trying to eradicate is concussions and head injuries and all that kind of shit, and also potentially another Alex McKinnon situation. So, and I can understand why they're trying to do it, and agree with there does need players need to be, safety needs to be paramount. Totally agree with that. But the way that they're going about it is absolutely killing the game.
Buy shoulder pads. Bring back the shoulder pads. And bring back the biff.
Bring back
Do
the
something
80s.
you want to protect the player.
Yeah.
What? Then we turn into NFL and have a meeting everybody 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's where it's going.
Well, I mean,
actually
we'll be there soon.
What was wrong with Maguire's tackle? He can't rip behind, got him around the
Nothing
waist.
wrong with it.
Never Colin pull him backwards. What? Just because the guy got hurt, the referee's gone, oh, that's Maguire. He's a thug. On report penalty. It's because of who was the guy making the tackle. And to me, what I'm seeing in a lot of games now, the referees are basing on who is the attacking player, who's the defending player, who's got the highest standing in the game. It's got all to do with what's your name, what club do you play for, what jersey are you wearing. It's the game's just getting bloody destroyed. Because if that had been a different player doing that same tackle, it probably would have been play on him. It would have stopped to get the guy back on his feet, play the ball. It's because it's Maguire's later, mate. That's what I believe.
All right, so welcome back to the Mad Dragons vodcast. We've got all the boys are all pretty fired up tonight. It's been a feisty one. Basically, from the moment we got that send off, we were never winning from there, and the Storm got out to 10-0 before Josh Maguire returned from the sin bin. But with 13v12, although it felt like 14v12, you must have been pretty happy, Mick, with the way that the Dragons didn't throw in the towel.
Yeah, Donnie, look, you probably saw it on my page. I was very impressed, mate. Really, really impressed. That first half, the boys played out of their skin to stick with them, and 10-4 against the Storm with one man gone very early on. Oh, that was incredible. And I knew the second half we were going to get rolled, not because we weren't good enough. We were too bloody tired, and they just didn't have the legs to go with them. But even at the end, we still got that try at the end. And our boys, they played that whole 80 minutes, man. They busted their asses, And Kerr, well, we've been sort of talking about Josh a little bit, especially you and I. And he played a really good game. A little bit quiet in the first half. Second half, he was rampaging. And that big run right at the end to that last try, that was a beauty. So the heart of the boys, I was really, really impressed. And, just hats off to the guys, because even though the score blew out, it didn't dim my appreciation of what the boys put in, because they were completely smashed.
Yeah, no, I know I certainly walked away from the ground and you know, as you do, having a chat with a few people after the game, and yeah, I couldn't think of too many individuals that I thought didn't have a crack. I thought everyone sort of rolled up their sleeves and did the best they could, but up against it, really up against it, down to 12 men. In the current game, you can't survive that long playing a man down. So, you know, I think they did an admirable job, but yeah, they were never much hope from that point on, I didn't think. But before we move into the second half, a few things have happened. It's all happening pretty quick, but a few things are going on today. We've signed Jared Beale to a training contract. What are your thoughts on that, Benny?
Again, I just don't really understand it at the moment. I just, you know, he's a known centre, and then a sort of maybe second winger and third fullback. But the only spot I can really see him slotting into is fullback, and maybe moving Dufty to 5'8". Dufty was unreal on the weekend. I think he really wants that 5'8" spot. You know, his ball play, the way he was moving around, the way he was servicing the players, even his kicks. Like I didn't think he had those sort of kicks in him. He did more than Norman did in that regard. You know, so I'm not sure where I see him slotting in. Like Lomax is due to come back. You know what I mean? So it's an odd one for me, but like you said, it's only a training contract, so who knows where it's going to go from there. But yeah, we'll find out in a few weeks, I guess.
Yeah, for me, I'm not a big fan of it. You know, this year he's played 6 games for the East Tigers in the Queensland Cup. In 6 games, he scored 1 try. He does have 4 try assists, 1 line break, made 31 tackles at just 80.8% efficiency, which is not going all that well, and 83 metres per game. So there's nothing that screams, oh, he needs to have a shot at the NRL with those sorts of numbers. I mean, that's not, and the Queensland Cup's not the highest quality competition. I would say that the New South Wales Cup is better. Sean Sonia-Sau, who young bloke that we've got on a development contract playing in the centres, he scored more tries, made more tackle breaks, better defensive efficiency, more metres per game. On top of that, we've got young James Schiller coming along nicely. We've got Max Feagai, who again is going significantly better than Beale in pretty much every area. You know, Beale to me is, if you're looking for an experienced centre to come in and plug a hole temporarily, we've got Charlie Runciman sitting in our lower grades as well. So I don't see what role Beale plays. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I guess maybe coming off the bench and maybe as a utility player may work in that regard. But like you said, the numbers he's been pulling in Queensland Cup isn't really that impressive. And he's not really a big, strong guy either. So his impact off the bench, I don't know. It's an odd one to me. The same they're talking about looking at Mbai as well.
That's kind of that's kind of the next question that I was going into. So a few rumours today. This one's certainly not approved. It hasn't happened yet, but some rumours that we've approached the Tigers about releasing Moses Mbai to join us immediately as a utility replacement player, coming on, filling that number 14 role coming off the bench. Maddie, what are your thoughts on that?
Look, Mbai's not a bad player by any means. But again, with some of these young guys coming through, why would you go for someone like him, except in the same sort of situation as why we've gone after Beale, which is to get an experienced first grader in there, to help sort of mold the younger guys that are coming through. That's the only reason I can think of why we would be going after him. We've got all these talented juniors coming up.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's not so much why would we be going after him? Why would Mbai agree to that? He's currently a starter at the Tigers. Why the hell would he want to leave where he's at now, contracted to the Tigers, starting in the 6 jersey for them, to come off the bench and play a utility role for us? It doesn't add up. I can't understand why Mbai would even be interested in contemplating that, and why the
Well,
Tigers.
unless you hate the Tigers that much,
Yeah,
unless he's that unhappy at the Tigers that he just wants to get out as soon as possible. I can't see any other reason.
all right. So
Yeah, but Adam Reynolds was up for grabs a few weeks ago, and we didn't even get a look in. You know, that's what we need. We need quality halves. We don't need more centers or second rowers. We've got plenty of them. You know,
We've
they
got
should have been having a bid for Reynolds.
We've got.
They
No,
should have
I
been
don't.
putting money.
I don't think Reynolds is. I don't think Reynolds is the answer. We got the halves already. We got those two young fellas, Bud Sullivan and Junior. Like, we already got them there. We don't need what we do need. And I think you'll find Beale is only going to be slotting into the reserve grade teams. So as you mentioned earlier, Donny, people like Ransom and Charlie Ransom can come up to first grade because they still need to fill positions in reserve grade, you know, at the New South Wales Cup. Do you know what I mean? So maybe he's coming to fill some positions there as the young fellas come up to us. So to first grade. So that's what I think is happening with Gerard Bill. But the thing, Mumbai, doesn't make sense to me. I don't know where you're going to put Mumbai. No idea.
no. I'll stick with you there, Joe. This one's out. It's actually not even a rumor. It's just one that Dragons fans keep bringing up, and that's a bloke that's off contract at the Melbourne Storm. He carved us up on the weekend. Nico Hines. A lot of people reckon that we should make a play for him and get him into the fullback. Is that the type of player you'd like to see the Dragons go after?
Yeah, but not at the expense of Dufty. I think Dufty's a fullback. I don't think Dufty will play halves. And I don't think, I mean, you know, call it loyal. He's not better than Dufty. He's a gun. But I love Matty, you know. I'm not so much a loyal kind of fan and Dufty's my boy because he's in my team. No, none of that. I don't know. I just love Matt Dufty. And it's what Mick alluded to last week, the way the guy plays with all heart, you know. Really just, maybe if you're gonna get him, I don't know who, you know, if you're gonna get him, where would you put him, Nick? Sorry, Donny. Let me ask you this question. If we did go for him, where would you put him?
Put him at fullback and get rid of Dufty, get rid of Ramsey, get rid of Tyrell Sloan, get this kid. They reckon that he's
wrong.
knees.
I don't agree with.
I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't think that the Dragons. We don't need to be the Melbourne Storm or the Sydney Roosters going out and buying players. We need to look at the model that Penrith have developed. That's the model that the Dragons need to look at.
Well said.
Talent, and you know, keep hold of the best young players coming up through our own systems. We've got the kids there that play Nico Hines' position. Sure, you've still got to buy a handful of blokes in positions that we don't have filled already. But Nico Hines, for me, is not the kind of bloke that we need to be going after. He's a good player, but yeah, for me, we've got.
I fully agree. I'm on your side 100%. Fully agree. Well said. You nailed it. We want the same team, exactly what Penrith have done. Have 5-6 players that have won a competition in their junior grade, and these kids I'm loving watching these boys play football. Penrith Panthers, that is, you know, I'm talking about. I'm loving this. It reminds me of the 2005 Tigers electric team, you know. Mate, it's just breath of fresh air to watch these boys play football. You know, I'm not saying I'm a Dragon. I'm not a Penrith supporter, but I love rugby league, and anybody who loves rugby league would be loving how Penrith's playing at the moment. You don't have to say you're a supporter to appreciate a good rugby league side, and forget the record. Just watch them play. They're a bunch of kids that don't give a shit. They're a bunch of kids that do not give a flying fuck. They'll throw that ball around, throw their bodies on the line, like clinical football. They'll win it this year, easy.
No, I totally agree with everything you said there about the Panthers. I do really enjoy watching them play. They play an exciting, expansive brand of football, and they're doing it with pretty much all local juniors, all blokes that they've given them their debut, so that they've developed from within. You know, there are some clubs like Melbourne and the Roosters and the Brisbane Broncos that have the capacity to have these third-party agreements. We don't have that. What we have is a big bloody junior base that we can use and exploit and develop. We haven't put enough effort into developing and keeping our own talent. That is how
Well
we
said.
get back towards the top.
And Penrith is the classic example of success down that avenue. You don't need to build a fancy stadium or a fancy center of excellence. That was just a big blow-ass thing. But you just need these young boys. They don't give a flying fuck. They just want to play footy together and they love one another and they play great football together. You just got to get that crop of boys together. That's it.
It took longer than 5 years, but Gus Gould's plan worked a treat. He's got, I mean, what he put in place is a big reason why the Panthers are where they are at the moment. So, yeah, I think that's the model that we need to look at.
Yep.
Talking about our young blokes, positive news, our under-21s on the weekend, they did have a good win over Parramatta. It was actually a round 2 game, so it was a game that didn't go ahead earlier in the season, but beat them 32 points to 12, and it was a really strong under-21 side. Tyrell Sloan, he scored a try about 3 minutes in. Trey Stewart at fullback with a double. Alex Lobb from the Illawarra Steelers SG ball side, he scored a try, kicked a goal. James Schiller, who I mentioned earlier as well, he scored a try, and Ben Arendt, the front rower, he's a bit of a try-scoring front rower. So I think at full strength, their under-21s probably wins the competition, but a lot of these blokes actually playing up in the reserve grade. But yeah, good to see the boys get a win. Okay, so second half kicks off. I was actually feeling pretty confident. Dufty with almost 100 metres at 2 try assists. I think we've all said it. He was absolutely everywhere, causing all sorts of headaches for the Melbourne Storm. 3 minutes into the second half, and he gets injured. And I think from that moment, it was all over, wasn't it, Benny?
Yeah, I think so. Dufty's just such a crucial player for us at the moment. And I said it last week, and everyone's like, oh, you've got to get it to Dufty, and Dufty's got to do this, and Dufty's got to do that. But yeah, we just miss him so much when he's not on the field, just because he just has that wow factor. You know, he can hit a hole at speed and create something out of nothing. You know, and he was doing that a lot. And full credit to the boys going into half time. You know, only down, you know, like 14-10. It's top effort. Like the boys just dug deep and super proud of how they played, and even the second half. You know, like I think Nick was saying, we just ran out of gas. But obviously losing Dufty is just such a big thing for us. You know, I think he was definitely providing a lot of spark in the back line and stuff like that. You know, a lot more than Norman. I think yeah, Benny Hunt had a solid game, but yeah, Dufty was definitely the one that was giving us that spark and creating those opportunities. So with him gone, yeah, definitely took its toll.
Yeah, I think the Dufty injury was certainly it was the straw that broke the camel's back. So the floodgates opened after that. The Storm piled on 20 points in 10 minutes. Mick, what did you make of so after Dufty got injured, what did you make of the changes that Hook made? You know, instead of pushing Ramsey to fullback, he put Bird into fullback with Finai going into the centres rather than on the wing. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I thought that was a bit sort of surprising. I thought maybe Jack would have stayed where he was and Ramsey would have gone to fullback. But, you know, Bird was still pretty solid. Overall, just, you know, what Benny said, I'll just go back to the second half. I'm not really going to single out any players. I thought the team was just unreal because I knew there was no way against Melbourne that they could maintain that first half performance. It was just going to be impossible with 12 guys. But, you know, Norman, I know there's a couple of boys here don't like him, but I think you do, I do. I still do. Norman did a lot of defence. He did a lot of tackling. And sometimes I think the Norman haters tend to focus on other stuff and they don't see a lot of the defence work he does. But overall, you know, I don't know. I'm just still blown out by the bloody game. Even though we got flogged, that the attitude, I don't think I've seen the Dragons team for a while, even in games when we're in, showed that complete. Look, Ramsey was stuffed at the end of that game. You know, he just threw himself at everybody. He tackled everything. He ran his bloody guts out. You know, and we're really building something with these younger guys. But a couple of questions you asked the other boys, I was hoping you're going to ask me, but if you don't mind, I'll get back to them. Getting Beale, I'm quite happy with Jared Beale coming back because he's been a very solid performer for the Broncos. In the past, he's been a solid performer for the Dragons when he played for us. I think Beale's actually a pretty decent player. As you said, maybe in the lower cups, he's not going that great. Well, sometimes I think first-grade players, once they lose that first-grade spot, I think a lot of that heart can sometimes go out of them a bit. Much smaller crowds, not really on TV. You put Beale back in the Dragons jersey, so put him at the back for Dufty or something. You're going to see a bit of the old Jared Beale come back because he's going to be back on telly. He's back in the jersey. He's back in front of a big crowd.
Last time, Mick.
What's that?
I thought he was pretty shit ass when he played for us last time.
Yeah,
So
well,
right.
I don't agree with you there. But we're not always going to agree on who we think are good players or who's not. But I just got no problem with him coming back. The Moses Mbite one, as you boys said, I don't know what that's going to prove. I wouldn't even mind if he came because we're running out of people. We won't have a first grade side left in a minute. So if Mbite was about to come, well, I'd take him because we just haven't got players by the look of it. And our guys keep getting suspended for 6 weeks.
When's that climax due?
I'll ask you guys a question. Why the hell would Ravaloa come back into the game and do that stupid fucking shoulder thing? Even though it was nowhere near the head, he hit him in the lower part of his body. But the guy's just spent 3 weeks on the sideline for a shoulder charge. He comes back and he does a shoulder charge.
Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same technique. Exactly the same everything. He had a couple of weeks. Get a couple of weeks holiday to think about it and fix it, and comes back, does exactly the same thing.
Well, that's a meathead, surely.
Yeah, he's just not the sharpest.
That's how he tackles. It's not a shoulder charge.
Yeah, well, he's got to change it though, doesn't he? He's got to change it though, doesn't he?
That's what he got done for.
How can he? That's what he's famous for doing, and
you've got to change it.
He's got to get that arm out, boys. He's got to put that arm out at least.
You got to look.
He ducks down and goes bang with the shoulder.
Just look. You don't even have to use the arm. Just look like you want to use it. Look like you want to think about using it. Put it somewhere there.
I think the one in that game was
hanging out here somewhere.
Yeah, I think the one in the game on the weekend was a bit different because he was in two minds. He had, he had the winger going wide. He committed to the centre. He was sort of half looking at the winger when he hit him. So it was that was a tough one. But yeah,
it was a good hit. I loved it. I thought it was a great hit.
The suspensions are absolute bullshit, mate. The suspensions are absolute bollocks. But
it was a great hit.
It's exactly the same tackle twice. Like you learn your lesson. Like just because you think the speed limit should be 100, if you're doing 100 in an 80 zone, you're still getting done. Like doesn't matter how much you argue your case. That's what the law is. That's the way that they're enforcing it. Got to change the technique.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a shoulder charge by the rules of the book. Like what damage is he going to do by hitting him the way that he tackles? Like it's not like a shoulder charge where you're running and attacking, the player's upper torso and towards the head region where you've got a high chance of a concussion or something like that. The way he hits, it's down low. It's around the ribs. He's going in and making that solid hit. Like if we can't tackle around the waist or around the legs, where the hell are you meant to tackle?
And you can't tackle around the head, so we pretty much Dragons can't tackle anyway.
Well, you can grab the flags that are on the shorts and pull them off.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, mate. We'll be playing Oztag soon.
Yeah.
And then they'll be whinging about players breaking fingers. Anyone who's ever played Oztag will know what I mean with that comment.
And just quickly, Don, if you don't mind, that Nico Hines thing, I would sign him tomorrow because I put on my page, why don't we offer him $8 million? That bloke, he's something else. And I reckon, as much as I love Dufty as well as Joe mentioned that he does, I think Hines is he's a bigger body. He's a bigger bodied bloke, like a Dugan sort of height by looking at him. If I had to pick right now for Hines or Dufty, I'd let Dufty go. As much as I love Matty, did that Hines guy, he split our team to shreds. And I was going, bloody hell, I'd never even heard of this bloke. Didn't even know who he bloody was.
My issue, mate, is my issue is not Dufty. Mate. My issue is not that we'd lose Dufty, it's that we'd lose Tyrell Sloan. Tyrell Sloan.
I don't really know who Sloan is, so
and that's the thing. Like he's a New South Wales under-18s fullback. He's a gun. The way that he moves, he just glides across the ground. He reminds me a bit of David Peachy. He's tall, rangy.
Yeah.
He's going to be a player. And we get a guy like Nico Hines. We'll lose that kid, as well as losing
Right,
Duffy,
okay.
as well as losing Ramsey. So that's the.
Oh yeah, look, I don't want to lose Dufty, but I'm just saying if you were the way I saw that Hines bloke, he just came in and he took over. And I thought it's like he was like in the Storm for bloody years, the way he just came on the field, was making breaks. And
He has been
I
in the
thought,
Storm for years. He just hasn't. He's been playing off the bench.
why couldn't you put Nico Hines on the bloody wing? Again, put Ravalawa in the second row, put Hines on the wing and Dufty at fullback, like bloody hell. That'd tear teams to shreds.
You could, mate. And that's what, like, he's been playing off the bench for the Melbourne Storm for 3 or 4 years. And,
Right.
he's,
I just don't know.
he's a bloke that I think he
Duffy
will
off
go
the
to
bench.
another club and you'll never hear his name again. I don't know that he's going to be as good at anywhere else. He's in the Melbourne Storm system. They're a fantastic club, fantastically well drilled. Yeah, maybe.
The only reason he shone on the weekend against us was we were gassed. Don't forget that, boys.
Yeah, but it was the same thing against the Tigers when everyone was talking up Seaney, the winger. Oh, wouldn't you love to see him at the Dragons? And like anyone who has a blinder against the Dragons, all of a sudden we need to buy him. What's wrong with what we got?
How do you go the week
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be a Cronulla player next week. Watch.
after?
Bring back Dugan.
Now you're talking. I'll go for that. I still love Dugan, my favourite player.
Manny, I'll bring you in. So, talking about the Sharks game, short turnaround, 5-day turnaround. I think it's the only one we've got all season, but pretty tough on the back of 4 suspensions, injury to Dufty. We do have Jordan Pereira coming back, but having a look at the squad against the Sharks, what do you think Hook got right, and what do you think he got wrong?
Okay. So we'll start with Ramsey at fullback. Probably the best choice that we've got available at this point. Billy Burns in the centres. Don't understand that at all. Haven't seen much that I've liked of him since he's been at the club. I don't know why we bought him, to be honest. Just going through the rest of the team now. Famasili at lock's going to be interesting. And one thing that no one's mentioned yet, Jaden Hunt making his debut off the bench in Jersey 15 this week. It'll be interesting to see how he goes.
Yeah, mate. I mean, you sort of raised a few points. Billy Burns. I think Billy Burns seems to be the current target of Dragons fans' unnecessary abuse. I don't think he's been anywhere near. I don't think he's been anywhere near as bad as people make him out to be. Like even on the weekend against Melbourne, he had that one drop ball. We were playing a bit of hot potato football, and he was the one that dropped it. But that he made that error. But apart from that, he got the ball in wide positions. His footwork was causing some problems for the Storm defence. I thought he went pretty well, and the try that he set up for Ravalawa, the catch pass was slick as. I thought he went okay on the weekend, and still seems to be coming in for a hell of a lot of criticism. He probably wouldn't have been my pick to go into the centres. I think again part of the issue with Billy Burns is he's been playing out of position, so picking him and keeping him playing out of position, I don't know it's going to help his reputation with Dragons fans at all. Jordan Pereira is another one I've seen a few people having a crack at. I know his last NRL game, he had a bit of a shocker, but with Ravalawa out, he is he's the Dragons' #1 power winger. He's 100% the best option to come back in onto that wing to fill that role where he can actually get us onto the front foot. So Jaden Hunt, you mentioned him, named to make his NRL debut, came to the Dragons on a train and trial contract. Went pretty well in the trials, and I think a few people saw him in the trials and liked what they saw. He's a big body, big boy, lays a decent platform, runs hard, should go all right. I'm not sure he's been consistent enough in reserve grade to truly earn his spot, but with all the players we've got out, give him a crack. 7 games in New South Wales Cup, 211 tackles at 84.8% efficiency. averaging at 95 metres a game, which is not too bad, and gets an offload a game and a couple of tackle breaks. So he's going all right, but yeah, not shooting the lights out. But yeah, give him a crack and let's see how he goes. I love Junior Amone back on the bench as well. So be exciting to see him out on the field once again. I thought the extended bench is a little bit strange. On the extended bench, we've got a halfback, we've got a dummy half, we've got a centre and a utility forward. So it's a bit of a strange extended bench. But I guess if there is some doubt over Cody Ramsey and Andrew McCulloch, then having those blokes on the extended bench gives us a few options to look at. Can also play a bit of ducks and drakes, and maybe Beale comes in and he shifts Billy Burns back to the bench or something like that. So we'll have to see what happens. Any of you blokes got any thoughts on the team list this week? No,
I've got no dramas. I've got no dramas with it. Wouldn't want to be a Dragons coach this week if you paid me $3 million.
Well, I don't know. I think this week to be a Dragons coach, you can't possibly go wrong. You just got to pick the 17 that are fit and available. It's no one else is there.
Yeah.
So is Pereira coming in for Ravalawa, is he?
Yeah. I don't know if he's
You
playing on
mentioned-
that same side of the field as Ravalawa, but Ravalawa's out and Pereira's back from suspension. So
as you were saying, like Pereira comes in for a bit of criticism from Dragon fans, but why? I think Pereira's a great player. He's a very strong runner of the ball. He makes very few mistakes from the games that I've seen him play. And he's always, he mightn't sort of make breaks, but he's a very solid defender and he's a very strong runner. So why the hatred? Why does he cop a lot of crap? I just don't get it with Dragon fans. I think they're fucked.
Well,
Sorry, I do. We don't. I fucked a lot of you, really.
Fuck you too, Mick.
Yeah, good.
Mick,
that was my
Mick, fuck you too.
You fucking pay for it.
Mickey.
Fuck you too, Mick.
Mickey. Oh, I love you, brother.
The fact we don't get behind blokes.
Fuck, it's a classic.
We just bag the shit out of players, and then we wonder why they get on the field and they fucking fuck up. Well,
I think
it'd be like
it's
having a
hard
kid.
for any it's hard for any Dragons player
Right? You
to
got fathers, I'm not. But if you guys got kids, if you tell them every day how fucked they are and how shit they are at everything they do, well, I'll tell you now, that kid's not going to be a fucking success, and that's a fucking fact. That's a fact. Unless that kid turns around and says to Dad, "Fuck you," and makes something of himself, but that really happens.
do it out of spite.
No, I can't put some.
We might need a third link here in a minute.
Spade, don't he? If I was a player, and as much as I love the Dragons, but I was a proper first-grade football player, and the Dragons actually said, "Do you want to come to the Dragons?" I would say, "Fuck off." Okay, I wouldn't get near the fucking Red V. I'd say your fans are fucking toxic, they're fucking evil, and I don't want to fucking know the club. I'm going to go join bloody the Knights or Titans. You know, fans that actually know how to stick by the club when the players are, going through a fucking horrid time, but the fans stick there. Our fans are,
mate. I can tell you on the weekend, mate. Dragons fans, we were getting absolutely flogged in that game. Dragons were standing behind the goal post and they were chanting to try and lift the boys when we were behind by 30. But they did not give up on them and they kept on trying to lift them. So I think the fans.
Well, that's rare, mate.
Right, we're back for part 3. And the boys are really fired up. I think Mick's just called us all a bunch of wankers and we can all get stuffed. But we love you, Mick. So
yeah, back at you, mate. Love you all.
It's been a hell of a lot of fun, but we're pretty much towards the back end of this episode. But having a look at the lower grade team news, so the big one, Jaden Sullivan. He still hasn't been named. It was hoped that he'd be back this week, and he may still be a late inclusion, but it's more likely he's a few more weeks away. Braden Williami also not named in any of the lower grade teams, so hasn't recovered from his injury, which does limit our options a little bit, which is, I suppose, part of the reason why we're looking towards getting Beale in to plug a temporary hole, perhaps. But Tyron Wishart, he has been named at 6 after not playing New South Wales Cup game due to injury. The last time New South Wales Cup ran around. Josh Corrick is another one that hasn't been named anywhere. I'm not sure what's going on with him, whether he picked up an injury. Tyrell Sloan, James Schiller, Shalomo Ofu, and Blake Dow, they all returned to the New South Wales Cup team after playing Jersey Flegg last weekend. And I'd expect a few changes for the New South Wales Cup side. So I think there's zero chance Luke Gale starts at 9. I think Billy Britton or Hayden Lomax will slot in there, and Adam Clune will more than likely go back and play reserve grade and replace Zeke Foster. I think it should be a good round, 3 games on this weekend after the Friday night game. So it's always good when we get the Friday night game first, because then you can have Blake sort of back up and play a bit of reserve grade and stuff as well if they don't get enough minutes in the top grade. Mick, I'll just throw over to you for your last thoughts on the Magic round, the weekend, and the game coming up on the weekend.
Okay, mate. Well, I've calmed down now. Well,
we don't want that.
I was just getting going. The Magic round. Well, by the sound of it, I only watched the pretty much the Dragons and Storm game, so you all know already what I think about that one. So the rest of the rounds I can't comment on because I didn't see anything. But from all the reports of what you guys are saying and what I've been seeing on Instagram and Facebook, everyone. When I say everyone, well, it seems like about 90% of people said they absolutely hate it. And you were there yourself, as you said, and saw a lot of the games and you hated it. So that sort of tells me that this new plan that they're looking at isn't going to work. And but Valentis has come out and said, no, he's not going to change it. They're sticking with the policy. So the players better get used to it. So God knows what will happen with the game in the next year or so. And as for the game against the Sharks, when are we playing? I don't even know what day we're playing. Probably Sunday.
Friday night.
Oh, Friday night
this week.
I haven't looked at I don't even know who Cronulla's got or who we've got. I know who we've got out, but I don't actually know who's been put where. So I can't really sort of add any comment as to how I think the game will go. I don't even know whether the Sharks are on the ladder. Where are they at the moment?
No, they're down at 11th or 12th, something like that. They're not going real good.
Well, just quickly, we can't still be 6th.
We are still 6th.
Surprisingly, we are
Can we still be
6th.
6th?
Because everyone else below us fucking lost, apart from Manly.
Right. Wow. Jeez. So
everyone else below us lost, more or less.
Has Cronulla got any of their major players out at the moment?
Not
or are they
really.
feeling are pretty much as strong? Right. Okay. So they've got a normal first grade side, and we've got about 5 or 6 lower grade blokes sort of coming in. Is that sort of how it looks?
Yeah, I think they're about $1.45 last time I looked, and probably shortening. As the more people have a look at the both team lists, we certainly look to have quite a few more no names than the Sharks.
No, where's the game being played?
Cogra.
But
it's Cronulla's home game.
Well, right. Yeah, don't start that bloody topic either. That's ridiculous.
No,
but anyway, that's why I brought it up, mate.
Yeah. For St George fans, that's still a home game. If I was a Cogra, I'd still be thinking it's our home ground because that's our spiritual home ground. Friday night, I think Dragons.
Any Dragons fans going there? If you see any black and blue, tear that shit down. It doesn't belong there.
So I think, Joe, by what you said, the Cronulla are down the bottom, and we're still 6th, amazingly, and it is at Cogra. I'd say, probably a good chance we would win that one because I think Cogra for us Friday nights is pretty good, I think.
Jesus. Mick Foster's backing us. I think that's a first on the podcast, mate.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Joe, your last thoughts on the weekend just gone or the weekend coming up?
As for the weekend that's gone, I'm very proud of the boys. Win, lose or draw, I walk out proud wearing my red V jersey at every home game. But I was exceptionally proud for this week. I think the scoreline doesn't reflect our spirit. As far as the game next week, I think we're going to lose. Again, it won't be by much because Cronulla are pretty average. And yeah, and it won't be their fault that they lose either. It's not going to be something where we can sit back and have our podcast about and try and pick on things. I think it's just going to be a question of experience and skill. We're not going to be able to match it with them, and I hope I eat my words. Good evening, gentlemen.
Righto, Matty, your last thoughts, mate?
I think if we can keep all our personnel on the field for the full 80 minutes, I reckon we're in with a pretty good shot. We do have a few young blokes that'll be hungry to prove themselves. Max Feguy had a great last start, and really looking forward to him kicking on. And I really want to see Jaden Hunt just start ripping into that Cronulla front row. Yeah, don't come at me, any Cronulla fans that happen to watch us. But look, I reckon if we can do that, if we can keep, if we can be a little bit more disciplined than we have been, cut down the six agains in particular, I reckon we got a good shot of beating Little Brother this week.
Benny, your last thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered the tragic round. But I think, coming into next week, if they're still going to be sort of headhunting with these stupid new rules like they were last week, it's going to be a tricky one. I think if we're going to have any chance to get it over the Sharkies, I think it's going to be out wide. I think it's going to be a backs game. I think, like Matty was saying, there's a few young guys coming in. Hopefully they throw the ball around and play some footy, because I think our strength is definitely going to be in our halves and backs this game instead of the forwards like it has been. So if they go throw the ball around and and match the Sharks there, I think we're half a chance. We'll find out on Friday night. Let's hopeful for a win, as we always are.
Yeah, all right. It's been a hell of an episode. We've had 3 different iterations through here, and it's been a lot of fun. There's been plenty of fire in the belly of Dragons fans, and I've really enjoyed this one probably more than any other one we've done so far. But Magic Round, the magic trick that was done was Peter Vlandis trying to make the NRL disappear. But we'll do our best to keep soldiering on, and the joker in the pack, I think, this weekend is if the Sharks get a couple of players sent off, then there's every chance that we go on and win by 40. And with Andrew Fafita in their side, they've probably got a good chance of having a few players sent off as well. So you never know what could happen. Should be a good game.
Quickly on that, Donny, is that how you'd really want to win a footy game? If the only way you can win is because they get a couple of boys with 10 in the bin or sent off, that doesn't really do much for your merit as a footy side, does it? And that's what I don't like about it personally. It doesn't sit well with me.
It's the only way we can win, because it happened to us last weekend. We got no players left, and
it's not just us. All the teams are copping it now, and I don't know.
Yeah, no other team had 4. No other team had 4, and that's so we're certainly the most impacted in terms of. And we were already, struggling for numbers, had a few injuries and different players out. And, we've already talked about Willie Army and Jaden Sullivan, who have been unavailable as well. Pereira wasn't available for the last game. He's come back. And there's a few others that are sort of just making their way back from injuries and suspension. So we're struggling even before that. So to have 4 players rubbed out and not just rubbed out for a week or 2, 5 weeks, like, it's a huge punishment, and we seem to be the team that they've decided to make an example of, even though there were plenty of other players and hits and shots that were just as bad as the ones that we were involved in. But no.
Donny, sorry, could I just quickly ask you, mate? That shot on Norman by Kaufusi, can't the league now? Because they would have seen that photo. Can't they go back and look at that photo and say, well, gee, we missed that one. That guy's got to go?
Yeah, they can. They just didn't.
But they haven't done it.
No, they won't.
Wow.
Well, they call that the match review committee, and Melbourne Storm are like the Roosters, all protected species. You know how it is. But you know what I'm hoping for
I think
this
he got a
weekend?
fine, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, fine. Slap on the wrist. Anyway, you know what I reckon this weekend? I'm hoping the referees are a bit compassionate and, you know, try to level the game up a little bit and give us a bit more of the tilt of the penalty count. So hopefully, you know.
Yeah, but it's not the
kind of thing
refs,
might
it's the bunker. The bunker are the ones yapping in the refs' ear, telling them to make these calls.
35 referees.
Like even, I think it might have been Donny said, you know, like he saw the ref on field get the call in his ear, and you see his eyes roll, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
How much
so they're being
control does
told
the
to
ref
do it
really
then.
have?
The ref has been told to do it, so it's not the ref really reffing. He's got someone in his ear saying, right, send that bloke off. He goes, oh, shit, I wasn't going to, but okay. Well, that's not how you ref a game of footy. The ref's meant to ref the game of footy, not someone in his head.
100%.
Yeah.
Now we're following a shit game, boys. It's turning into crap.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway,
Bullshit.
it will be interesting to, like, I am looking forward to different aspects on Friday night. I always love coming up against the Sharks. It is a rivalry that can at times bring out the best in the Dragons. And you know, we get a look at Cody Ramsey at fullback. There's a few people that think that Ramsey should be the fullback and we should let Dufty go. He'll get a chance to state his case this weekend and perhaps for the next couple of weeks while Dufty's out. He'll get a chance to show us what he's got. We've still got the same front row. We've still got, apart from Dufty, we've got the same spine. So the key players are all still there. We've got young Junior Ramon. We've got a few other young blokes coming in that'll get a chance to make their mark and show us what it is they've got. So, you know, I think there's still things to look forward to as a Dragons fan. And let's roll the Sharks. Go the Dragons.